There's one backup quarterback I'd be willing to kick the tires on if I'm the New York Jets and things go south with Zach Wilson. Let's get into it.
Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field Gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor Gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever seen.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
Hey, everybody, my name is Paul Lesden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/BoyGreen25. Make sure you guys like the video. Hit subscribe down below for more juicy deets. Now, if Zach Wilson doesn't show improvement, the team might consider some alternative options at the quarterback position. That was the thought of Joe Tansey of Bleacher Report, who suggested 3 trade targets for the Jets. We're going to be highlighting one today. All the details are down below if you'd like to click the article and follow along as we work through this. And one of the names on his list was New Orleans Saints quarterback Jameis Winston. Now, I'm going to say this right off the top. I'm not exactly sure how many more wins adding famous Jameis to the team would add to the table. I'm not quite sure. But what I do know is it would be fun as hell because Jameis Winston is a wild man. This guy is the absolute definition of a gunslinger, okay? Jameis Winston, here's some numbers. He's 29 years of age. He's the backup quarterback with the New Orleans Saints behind Derek Carr, obviously. So he's appeared in 86 games in his career. He's made 80 starts. He's played for 2 teams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the New Orleans Saints. And obviously he's buried on the depth chart in Saints land. Derek Carr signed a 4-year deal for $150 million. So there's no way for Jameis Winston to get on the field there. But if he wants to get on the field one more time, and Zach Wilson struggles, again, that's the caveat here. If Zach Wilson starts performing well, I don't need Jameis Winston, but he'd be an interesting man. He has thrown 139 touchdown passes in his career, but he has 96 interceptions. That's not a great ratio, to say the least. And I think it's highlighted by in 2019, you guys might remember this, Jameis Winston had a career high in touchdown passes and a career high in interceptions in the same season. His career high in touchdown passes were 33. That would set the Jets' single season record, which is currently held by Ryan Fitzpatrick with 31. So there's number one. And then number two, Jameis Winston in that same season threw 30 picks. That's the 7th most all-time ever in a single season. So in other words, Winston's going to make you some plays. He's also going to cost you some plays. But if the Jets want to maximize the talent on this roster, if they want to make sure like a guy like Garrett Wilson, for instance, is getting his targets and getting his opportunities, Jameis Winston's going to do it. He's going to maximize this team. No more will there be the 70-yard passing performances, 150-yard passing performances. Winston consistently is going to be thrown to that 250, 300-plus range, if not more. That's the kind of weaponry, the kind of power, the kind of arm talent he certainly brings to the table. He would be a fun player. He would add to this. And think about this, mixing that potentially with this Jets defense, it could be dynamic. Now, it could also put them in terrible positions with a ton of turnovers and Jets defense being on short fields. But with the NFL trade deadline coming up in about a month and change, and the Jets bye week coming up in week 7, I think there is something to be had here if Zach Wilson continues to struggle. He's a backup quarterback, in my mind, that would be relatively cheap to acquire in terms of trade compensation and relatively cheap contract-wise. He's got a 1-year deal for $4 million. Nothing crazy about that, and it would be prorated, so you wouldn't even be paying the full amount. You'd be paying it on the per-game basis. So to me, this would be the move. I know everyone's talking about Matthew Stafford or Kirk Cousins. Aaron Rodgers wants to come back next year, our Lord and Savior. A-Rod, baby. He wants to come back. You complicate matters with a guy like Matthew Stafford who's got multiple years and money on his deal. Kirk Cousins maybe in the right scenario, he's on the last year's deal, he's a rental, you bring him in, ride the train, he leaves in free agency, you get a comp pick in the future. Maybe that one's okay. But Jameis Winston, to me, is the most logical, affordable, and makes a lot of sense. And Joe Tansey threw it out and called the Jets a landing spot for the former number 1 overall pick and former Pro Bowl quarterback. Again, we're all rooting for Zach. We want Zach to be the guy. But you have to be prepared. Here is what Joe Douglas's job is to do. Hope for the best, expect the worst. Hope for the best, Zach Wilson's a guy. But you got to be prepared for the worst possible case scenario. And that Zach Wilson flames out, and he does not show the chutzpah that he has not yet shown so far in his career. If we go in that direction, Jameis Winston, famous Jameis, could add a little juice to the New York Jets 2023 season. Again, an option I might consider. Again, check out the full article down below. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you guys like the video. Hit subscribe down below for more content. And make sure you check out live every single day, Boy Green Daily, a New York Jets video show with fun guests, and it's quick. It's only 20 minutes in length. It's live every day at 7:30 on this channel. Also, the audio-only version of the podcast is available wherever you find your podcast by simply searching for Boy Green Daily. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Take care.